The secret to achieving everything you desire. Bob Proctor. Have you ever stopped to think that the only thing preventing you from conquering the life of your dreams is yourself? It sounds absurd, doesn't it? But I will prove to you that what separates you from the life you desire is not the government, not the job market, not a lack of opportunities, it's your own mental programming. And the good news is, you can change that right now. I want you to understand something now. The day you make a committed decision, something changes in your mind. It's like turning a frequency dial. You get out of the noise of doubt and enter the channel where the right ideas, people, and resources begin to appear. I was born, and so were you, in a magnificent, free vibration, with gigantic potential. The conditioning came later. They taught us to diminish, to ask permission to dream. But conditioning can be reprogrammed. It requires courage, it requires goals, and above all, decision. A decision is the moment you say, this is what I'm going to do, even if you don't yet know how. When I talk about decision, it's not, let's see what happens. It's commitment. A lot of people get stuck because they're looking for the perfect route. I do things differently. I decide first, and the path appears. I ask myself two simple questions. What do I really want, and when do I start? The how is secondary. The when is now. Have you noticed how most people know exactly what they don't want, but stammer when they have to say what they do want? That's why so many people give up before they even start. And here's a reality check. If you're still thinking about it, you're actually choosing to stay the same. Maybe you're saying, Bob, I don't have the money to start. What if I fail? What if they laugh at me? I know these objections well. The fear of losing stability, the fear of judgment, imposter syndrome, the fear of not being able to handle it. But tell me, if you don't start, what changes? Have you ever put off a decision for months, only to realize you missed simple opportunities, a course that went up in price, a contact that cooled off, a job that went to someone with less talent but more decision? Why should tomorrow be any different? The price of not deciding is always higher than the risk of starting. I view a decision as a frequency adjustment. There's a specific band where your goals resonate. When you decide, you put yourself in that band. And in that state, you attract ideas and circumstances that are compatible with the result you want. It's not mysticism, it's mental direction. Your focus becomes selective. You start to notice things you used to ignore. I use another simple test. If the idea doesn't move me, if it doesn't resonate loudly, it's not the right goal. When it is the right goal, you feel it, desire, energy, even goosebumps. Feeling is a consciousness of vibration. Learn to trust that. Let me show you how this applies today, in real life. Do you want to get out of debt and build savings? Decide on a specific savings number and a date. It's not, I'll save money one day, it's 10,000 British pounds by June 30. From there, I act as someone who is already the guardian of that money. I cut out the superfluous without drama, create a second source of income, revive dormant contacts, and offer something of value. Do you work in a job that doesn't expand you? Decide on the transition. Define the role and industry you want, and then every day, take an action that a professional in that role would take. Improve a skill, publish a case study, ask for an informational chat, solve a small problem for someone in the field. Do you want health? Decide on the body you want to inhabit and act as if you already live in it. Prioritize sleep, do simple daily movement. Walking 20 to 30 minutes changes a lot. Restructure the kitchen environment. Notice, in all cases, the decision changes your perception and, with it, your behavior. I always bring the conversation back to money, because that's where emotional triggers are set off. What if I run out? What if I lose the little I have? What if it goes wrong? These questions paralyze. So I counter with others. What if it goes right? What if you learn more in 6 months of action than in 3 years of waiting for courage to appear? What if your fear isn't a warning to stop, but a sign that you're now playing on a different level? The truth is that most people spend money without realizing it on things that don't transform anything. a subscription here, fast food there, a small installment payment over there, and say they don't have money to invest in themselves. Change I don't have to, I haven't prioritized it yet. When the decision is real, the priority reorders your budget. Let me open a parenthesis and make a quick invitation. Interrupt what you're doing for 10 seconds and write, for real, write, what you want in a clear, positive sentence, as if it's already happening. I achieve, goal, by, date, with joy and ease. Done. Now read it out loud. Feel how your body responds. If it didn't generate anything, the goal is too small or it's not yours. Adjust it. The right goal moves you. The right goal smells of purpose. I'm not talking about textbook theory. There was a time when I was buried in debt, without a degree, without prospects. I worked a regular job and repeated the same results, year after year. One day, I decided that my life would not be a portrait of my past. I had more bills than money, but I decided to invest in myself. I studied obsessively, and I started a small cleaning business. I didn't know how to scale. I just decided I would. In a short time, that decision rearranged my reality. Clients who had never noticed my work appeared, partners I didn't know emerged, and opportunities that seemed unlikely came my way. The foundation wasn't luck, it was the right frequency with coherent action. Maybe you want a public example. Think about what Jim Carrey did when he wasn't yet famous. He wrote himself a check dated in the future for millions of dollars and lived as if he were already the actor he imagined himself to be. You can debate the method, but you can't deny the power of the decision. It's not about a magic check, it's about a choice that reprograms behavior, persistence, and focus, 3 variables that change results. And what if, instead of waiting for confidence to arrive, you chose to behave as someone who already deserves the role? I always teach a 3-step microprocess to solidify a decision. First, clarify, write down what you want in a simple sentence, with a date. Second, commit, take a minimum public action that puts you in the game, send a message, schedule a conversation, announce your first client, open your business, buy the domain, book your first swimming lesson. Third, condition, every day, in the morning, I revisit my decision for 2 minutes, I read it out loud, visualize it as if it's already done, and ask, what is the next 10-minute action that proves this is true today? The repetition isn't for the universe, it's for your mind to stop sabotaging and start cooperating. You might be thinking, Bob, what if I fail? I tell you, failing is inevitable and indispensable. What is optional is giving up. Today's failure is tomorrow's fine-tuning. I don't measure my progress by a single result, but by the consistency of the decision. The daily decision. Have you noticed how ordinary people with firm decisions surpass brilliant talents who live in indecision? Talent without decision becomes idle potential. And here's another pattern break. If I gave you 2 options right now, A. Receive £10,000 today with no strings attached, or B. Make a public commitment for 30 days to your goal and earn £100,000 in opportunities over the next 6 months, which would you choose? Most people take the easy money and stay the same. Those who truly decide choose the path that transforms them. I want you to remember this: if you can see it, you can do it. And seeing isn't fantasy, it's a mental blueprint. When you decide, you act as if you're already there, you walk, talk, think, and live like the person who has already achieved it. Your environment responds to that. That's why I repeat, create urgency. Not tomorrow. Now. Pick up the phone and send the message you've been putting off. Block out 20 minutes in your schedule for the 10-minute action. Make the first incomplete sale, record the first imperfect video, deliver the first still shy service. The decision you make today redefines what is possible tomorrow. If you'd like, I'll give you a very practical challenge. For the next 48 hours, choose a single goal and take 3 minimal actions that prove your decision. 1. Write down your goal with a date and read it out loud in the morning and at night. 2. Take a public action that exposes you to the result. Schedule a meeting, publish a proposal, send a portfolio, Open a pre-sale call. 3. Eliminate a cost that doesn't get you closer to the goal and redirect the value to learning, producing, or distributing. After those 48 hours, you won't feel more confident to decide, you'll discover that the decision creates the confidence. And that's how the frequency changes, from doubt to realization. Dreaming big was never anyone's problem. The real problem is that most people dream too small, and worse, they achieve exactly that small dream. I learned early on that there's no merit in pursuing goals that don't move your heart. If your objective doesn't give you butterflies in your stomach, if it doesn't make you wake up with energy, then it's just an excuse to stay where you are. The requirement isn't whether you can, whether you have, or whether the world will allow you. The only question you should ask yourself is, do I really want this? It's curious how most people apologize for their own desires. Maybe you've caught yourself saying, "Oh, I just want a simple little house, I just want to live without debt, I just want a stable job." But is that really what you want? Or did you learn to settle for less so you wouldn't be disappointed? It's comfortable to dream small, because no one will criticize you, no one will call you crazy. But that's where the danger lies. Dreaming small doesn't require courage, doesn't generate progress, and doesn't awaken your true potential. Dreaming big, on the other hand, exposes you, and that's exactly what transforms you. I always say, if you can see a clear image in your mind, you can materialize it. When I visualized the lifestyle I desired, I didn't know how I would get there. I just knew I wanted it. I saw myself wearing different clothes, traveling to different places, working with different people. I acted as if I were already there. That, acting as if, isn't pretending, it's mental training. Science has already proven it. When you visualize intensely, the same areas of the brain activate as if you were living the real experience. That's why Olympic athletes use visualization daily. They see themselves as winners before they even touch the equipment, and the body obeys the mind's command. Look at Elon Musk, for example. He could have settled for just being a technology entrepreneur. But no. He dreamed of changing how the world moves, of colonizing Mars, of transforming the energy industry. Many called him crazy. Today, he is a benchmark. Not because he dreamed small, but because he dared to dream big enough for others to criticize him. And here's a detail that few people notice: criticism is a sign that you're touching on something too big to fit into mediocrity. But dreaming big isn't just about billionaires. It's about you too. Have you ever wanted to learn a new language, change careers, open your own business, write a book? Why did you put it off? Because it seemed too big. Neuroscience shows that people who set audacious goals, who step out of the ordinary, report higher levels of satisfaction and well-being than those who live chasing safe goals. Life is too short to waste energy on dreams that don't excite you. Let me tell you a story. When I decided I wanted to speak to crowds around the world, I had no audience, no money, and no structure for it. But I dreamed big. And every time I spoke to 10 people, I behaved as if there were 1,000. Every time I gave a talk in a simple room, I imagined myself on an international stage. And one day, that stopped being just an imagination. The stage appeared, the people appeared, and the dream that seemed ridiculous to some became a reality for me. I remember the first time I walked into an auditorium with thousands of people. I was moved, because there was living proof that dreaming big isn't arrogance. It's courage. It's faith in yourself. Now, I want to challenge you. When was the last time you allowed yourself to dream without limits? When was the last time you wrote down a goal that seemed impossible? Are you hiding behind small dreams just to avoid criticism? Ask yourself, if you had an absolute guarantee that you wouldn't fail, what would you really want to achieve? The answer to that question is your true dream. And here's my challenge for you: during this week, choose a dream that seems too big and write it as if it's already a reality. Put it on paper, read it out loud, close your eyes, and see yourself living it. Act as if you're already there. Speak as someone who has already conquered it. Walk as someone who already belongs on that level. You'll notice that your energy changes, that fear gives way to enthusiasm, and that opportunities start to appear where before there was only routine. If you can see it, you can do it. So, tell me, will you continue to dream small to avoid disappointment, or will you finally give yourself the chance to dream big and discover how far you can go? Fear is polite. It doesn't scream, it whispers, "Not now, think it over, what if it goes wrong?" And that's precisely why so many intelligent people stop halfway. I learned that fear isn't in the market, the government, or the boss. Fear lives inside, in the programming we were made to swallow after birth. We were born free and in a magnificent vibration, but we were conditioned to diminish. The good news? Conditioning can be reprogrammed. And it begins when I decide. The instant I make a committed decision, I turn the frequency of my mind and start attracting ideas, people, and resources compatible with what I've chosen to achieve. You don't need to know the how beforehand, you decide, and the how starts to reveal itself step by step. What are the objections that paralyze you most? I don't have the money. What if I fail? What if they laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough? Do you see how they all try to keep you in the same station, listening to the same static? So I counter with questions that cut through the fog. What if it goes right? What if you learn more in 30 days of action than you did in 3 years of waiting for courage to appear? What if the ridicule lasts 30 seconds and the regret lasts decades? When a goal is true, you feel it, a calling, a good kind of butterflies in your stomach. Feeling is the consciousness of vibration, and that's when you know you're aligning with something bigger than routine. Let's talk about money, because that's where fears get the loudest. A lot of people say, "I don't invest in myself because I don't have the money," but in practice, they spend, without realizing it, on things that don't transform anything. That's fear disguised as prudence. What do? I define the goal, clear, with a date. I act as someone who already manages their money well, and I create daily micro-evidence. I set aside 10% of any income, I cut a cost that doesn't bring me closer to the objective, and I take a public action, send a proposal, open a pre-sale, schedule a conversation. Fear doesn't disappear before the action, it shrinks after the action. That's why I insist on urgency. When are you going to do it? The correct answer is now. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I received an invitation to lead a training for a large corporate team. A high fee, important people in the room. The night before, fear came on full blast, sweaty hands, my mind telling stories. I almost sent a message to postpone it, the excuse was ready, it seemed sensible. Instead, I did what I teach, I reaffirmed the decision, reviewed my goal as if it were already delivered, and went to sleep repeating, "If I can see it, I can do it." The next day, I walked into the room, and within the first 3 minutes, the anxiety turned into presence. I left there with new connections, contracts, and the certainty I needed. The fear was just noise before the music. The emotion? Relief and laughter at myself for almost having given up on what I wanted most. Want public examples? J.K. Rowling heard "no" repeatedly, counted pennies to heat her home, and still wrote, not because she didn't have fear, but because she decided despite it. When the opportunity finally opened the door, she was already ready on the inside. On the other hand, look at what the fear of change did to Kodak. They invented the digital camera and shelved it, trapped in the comfort of photographic film. The world changed its frequency, and the company was left in the static. It's not about condemning, it's about seeing how fear plus indecision exact a high price. Now, let's bring this to you, real life, today. Do you want to get out of debt? Decide on a number and a date, not "I'll save money one day," but 10,000 British pounds by June 30. From now on, every pound that comes in has a purpose. Want a career transition? Choose the role and industry and take a 10-minute action every day that proves your decision. Ask for an informational conversation, publish a mini-study, solve a simple problem for someone in the field. Want health? Act first, walk 20 to 30 minutes daily, sleep 30 to 60 minutes more per night, reorganize your kitchen. When you act as if you're already there, the environment responds, and the mind learns there's nothing to fear but inertia. I know fear is convincing. It will whisper in your ear that you need one more course, lack time, lack confidence. But confidence doesn't precede the decision. Confidence is built by successive experiences of action. And there's a powerful shortcut: act as if. Walk, talk, think, and live as someone who has already achieved the goal. It's not theater, it's conditioning your mind for the new frequency. When you do this, your perception filter changes. You begin to notice opportunities that were always there, and that doubt was preventing you from seeing. I want to propose a 72-hour challenge for you to dismantle fear in practice. 1. Write down a goal that truly matters, in a positive sentence, with a date. 2. List 3 objections that always hold you back, and next to each one, write one micro-action that proves the opposite: no money. Offer a pilot service: no time. Schedule 20 non-negotiable minutes: no confidence. Record a 60-second video explaining your solution and send it to a potential client. 3. Take a public action: make a move that exposes you to the result. Publish, send, schedule. 4. Every morning, for 2 minutes, see yourself delivering the result and ask, what is the next 10-minute action that proves this is true today? At the end, you won't lose the fear magically. You'll discover that it shrinks when cornered by decisions. In the end, the biggest enemy was never failure. The biggest enemy is indecision. If you can see it, you can do it, and the world begins to reorganize when you decide and stay in the frequency of what you want, acting as if you're already there. The rest is static. Shall we turn the dial? If you truly want to transform your life, you need to start living as if you've already conquered what you desire. I'm not talking about pretending, but about aligning your mind, your words, and your actions with the reality you've chosen to create. When you behave as if you're already there, the entire universe starts to respond differently. It's like tuning a radio station. As long as you stay on the wrong frequency, no matter how much effort you put in, the sound will be distorted. But when you get the tuning right, everything flows. And the right tuning is to live, think, and feel like the person who has already achieved what you so desire. Many people tell me, Bob, when I have more money, I'll dress better; when I have more time, I'll study; when I have success, I'll act with confidence. But that's a trap. The order is inverted. You'll only have more money, more time, more success when you start acting like the person who already possesses these things. Behavior creates the result, not the other way around. And here's the uncomfortable question: how many times are you waiting for the world to give you permission to behave as the protagonist of your own life? I like to recall the example of Michael Phelps. Before every Olympic race, he had already mentally swum every stroke hundreds of times. He didn't wait for the result to feel like a champion. He already saw himself as a winner long before he heard the starting whistle. And when the time came, his body simply executed what his mind already believed to be a fact. This isn't theory, it's a practice proven by neuroscience. Studies show that the brain activates the same circuits when you intensely imagine an action and when you perform it for real. In other words, living mentally as if you've already conquered is literally training your brain for victory. Now, let's bring this to your daily life. Do you want to have financial independence? Start behaving as someone who already manages their own money well. Organize your finances, set priorities, invest a part of every earning, even if it's a small amount. Do you want to change careers? Behave as the professional you want to be, read about your field, create side projects, talk to influential people in the industry, act as if you're already a member of that community. Do you want to improve your health? Dress, eat, and move like someone who already has vitality. And discipline. You don't need to wait to lose weight to dress well, you don't need to wait to have free time to exercise, you don't need to wait to feel motivated to act. You act first, motivation comes later. I remember a phase when my biggest dream was to be recognized as an international speaker. But I had no audience, no invitations, not even a structure for it. What did I do? I started to live as if I were already a sought-after speaker. I studied every day, wrote my speeches, practiced in front of the mirror, applied my energy as if I were in front of an audience of 1,000 people, even though, in reality, there were only 10. I spoke with passion, with conviction, with posture. And one day, without me being able to predict it, the doors opened. That posture that seemed exaggerated was, in reality, the seed that led me to international stages. And maybe you're thinking, but Bob, what if I feel ridiculous living something I don't have yet? Then I ask you, isn't it more ridiculous to live a life you don't want, just because you're afraid of the judgment of others? How many times have you caught yourself postponing changes out of shame, while less prepared people advance precisely because they dared to behave like winners? The price of being ridiculous lasts seconds. The price of not trying can last a lifetime. Behavioral science explains this too. The psychologist Albert Bandura demonstrated that self-efficacy, the belief in one's own ability to achieve something, is built by the experience of success. But here's the detail: your mind doesn't differentiate a real success from a mental simulation lived with intensity. In other words, every time you act as if you've already conquered, you are accumulating experiences of success within yourself. This is how confidence grows. So, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next 7 days, choose an area of your life where you feel you're stuck. Ask yourself, how would I act if I had already conquered this? Write down 3 specific attitudes and practice them daily. If it's money, organize your finances like someone who already has prosperity. If it's health, choose and maintain habits of someone who already has vitality. If it's a career, communicate like someone who is already an authority in the field. At the end of those 7 days, observe the change in your energy, in your posture, and even in the way people around you start to react to you. Because in the end, living as if you've already conquered isn't about waiting for the future. It's about creating the future now. And I can guarantee you, when you behave as if you're already there, the world starts to treat you as if you've already arrived. If there's one single point I want you to take from this video, it's this: you have the power to decide, to dream big, and to live now as if you've already conquered. That's the secret that changes everything, because it depends on no one but you. And if this message touched something within you, don't stop here. The next video that's appearing on your screen will help you climb another step on this journey of wisdom, so you can become 1% better than you are now. Thank you very much for being with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.